Hello, my name is Marlon Fisher. I'm currently majoring in IT from FSU with a focus in database and web design. Today I'm going to instruct novice users how to use the MySQL query browser to create, populate, and alter tables in a database. To start things off, we're going to need to know where to actually get the MySQL query browser. Now, if you open up any browser, you could go to mysql.com, which is right here, and click on Downloads in the top left. Now scroll down to the MySQL Tools, I believe it is. MySQL Tools, and download the MySQL GUI tools, which includes the query browser. Simply pick the mirror which reflects the OS your system is running on and install it. Now, once you've got yourself installed, you're going to want to run the program, which functions much like any FTP client, requiring a host, username, password, port, and if you like, you could click in the upper right hand corner to save this connection. And just type in the information and you're in business. It should be noted that in order to use the query browser, one must have a database to connect to. For the purpose of this tutorial, we'll be using a pre-existing one. Once the program is running, you're going to need to select the database to begin working on it. That can be done by double-clicking. Once the database is selected, you could create a new table by right-clicking on the database and selecting Create New Table. This pulls up the table creation wizard, which enables you to name the table, as well as its columns, their data types, and different constraints on those fields. Now we'll be creating a table that records the scores of college football games. First column will be the ID, which will be an integer, which is auto-incrementing and will be used as the primary key. Next will be the team name, which will be called team and will be a varchar, followed by the rush yardage, pass yardage, and points, which will all be saved as integers. And just for kicks, we're going to be giving the points a default value of 0. Thus, if nothing is input, it'll be assumed that they didn't score. Now, I believe we're done, so we're going to go down to the bottom and select Apply Changes. Now this will bring up a confirm window, which will show you the code that you would have had to type if you did not have the query browser. As you can see, the query browser makes this a lot easier. Go ahead and click Execute, and your table is created. Now we're going to move on to populating the table we just created. Double-click on it, then double-click on it again. The first time actually brings up a line of code which would show you the contents of the table. The second time actually brings up the contents. Now we're going to bring the cursor to the bottom of the screen and select Edit. From here you could double-click on any field and fill it however you would like. It is unnecessary to put any numbers in the ID field as they are auto-incrementing, and when you have finished, they will fill themselves. Now at this point in time, I do not know the actual statistics of these games, so I'm just going to fill them with semi-random numbers. When you have finished, bring your cursor down to the bottom of the screen and select Apply Changes. This inputs the data into the table. Using this method, it's easy to avoid making mistakes while populating the table. Nonetheless, we've made some on purpose so that we may learn how to correct our mistakes. Now, if you're lucky enough to have another table with the correct information, this little trick can come in handy. Double-clicking on the table with the correct information, then selecting Query and Show Results in a split tab will actually allow you to see the results from two different tables. All we need to do is scroll down until we find the corrections to the mistakes we've made in our table. Once we've found them, we could select Edit in the table we've created and double-click on any field to change its input. The MySQL query browser also comes with a search feature, which is useful when you can't find the information you're looking for in a table. Simply type in the missing text and it will bring you to it. Now, much like populating the table, once you have filled in the corrections, simply click Apply Changes and Edit to finalize your inputs. And that is how you create, populate, and alter tables using the MySQL query browser. In the next tutorial, I'll be showing you how to create complex queries for your database. Now, just as a quick bonus to those of you who already know the query language but would like to know how to access your database on a website, I'm going to show you the basics of PHP. Shown here is the PHP source code used to access a MySQL database on a web page. This code can be found in the tutorials manual, but basically is broken down by accessing the database at the top with a username and password, specifying which database you'd like to access, and then listing a number of queries that will provide info which you could assign to PHP variables. Now here's the code used to actually display the variable on the web page. As you can see, it's very simple and short. This code can also be found in the tutorials manual. Looking at this code in action, we can see that it selects the first team of the table we created, which just happens to be FSU. Using the skills taught today, one can create database tables and web pages such as those utilized by BTN Sports. Although their tables contain much more data, the PHP used on their website is not much more complex than what was shown during this tutorial. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this MySQL query browser tutorial. I'm Marlon Fisher, and I can be reached at marlonf@btnsports.com if you have any questions regarding the MySQL query browser. Also, if you'd like to get the documentation regarding the PHP code used in this tutorial, you could find it at this web address. Thank you, and have a good day.